Hello again, and welcome to today's webinar on solving common issues and site optimization for Magento open source and Adobe Commerce. Before we dive in, let me give you an overview of what we're going to cover today. We'll share a few common issues that you might be experiencing when managing your Magento site, as well as how to resolve them. We will also touch on common issues and best practices related to extensions and module usage. That's always a big topic with a lot of our clients, and how to optimize that. So we'll share some insights in that area as well. And in our second half, we'll go over strategies to diagnose and optimize your site's performance, including some quick demos of tools you may or may not be aware of. And you can use them in your process and experiment with them and hopefully optimize your site and images on your site a bit further. Okay, so we have our chat enabled. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us any questions throughout the presentation. We'll save some time for Q&A at the end of the presentation. And of course, the exciting news with our webinars, we have a free giveaway. So we will do a draw for the free technical audit for one lucky person who registered for this webinar. So I've got that prepped, and so I'll do the draw live at the end of the webinar. This is a technical audit that we perform on our client's website to assess their site's performance, prioritize actionable recommendations for improvement. So you don't want to miss out on that. So stick around. I'm Mel, and I'm the CEO of Brain and Code, and I'll be your host today. I'm excited to introduce my colleague, Sergio Taddeo. He's got over 10 years of experience in Magento and Adobe Commerce. He's delivered numerous successful Magento projects and is an Adobe Commerce certified expert. He's going to help us navigate through the challenges and the optimization strategies that we're going to be discussing today.
Thanks, Mel. Hi, everyone. I'm looking forward to sharing some practical tips and insights that you can apply to your Magento stores to enhance performance and solve common technical issues.
Great. So my goal is to keep this webinar under 30 minutes so everybody can get back to work or go for lunch, whatever it is you've got planned for the rest of the day. But with the amount of stuff that we want to get through today, let's dive right in. So Sergio, to get us started, let's talk about some of the common challenges that Magento users and admins might face or have faced in the past. What are the issues that we often hear our clients encounter when they're doing their day-to-day management of their Magento website? Because I'm sure a lot of users have shared experiences. They encounter similar roadblocks. It's nice to know that you're not the only one. It's not a user problem. It's a shared common problem, and understanding how to resolve them can potentially save everyone a lot of time and headaches.
Yeah, absolutely, Mel. Let's talk about some technical issues that Magento admins and managers often encounter. Oh, sorry here. So there are many of them. Let's be clear. We're not going to be able to cover all of them, or not even a tiny portion of them. That sometimes are issues, sometimes are questions, sometimes it's just the lack of knowledge, etc. But I put together here three of them that I believe are the ones that I keep hearing the most on the past years with experience. So they are related. For example, I did a product data import or update and my products are not displaying. My CMS page updates are not showing. And after I create a new page or edit an existing one, and for the ones who has a B2B website and the Magento Commerce, dealing with multiple catalogs or multiple websites and large data, that could be a problem as well. So what I did, let me just share my screen here. This is a demo site that we have here at Brain and Code. So for the first topic, products not displaying after import or update, or even the price, one of the most common issues is when products or products attributes, such as price, don't display properly after you imported, created, or update them. The main reason for this is that indexers need to be reindexed. So, and how do you check that? How do you know that? So you probably already are comfortable enough to play with your Magento backend at this point as a user. But you go here under store and index management. I have it open the tab here. And what you're looking for are in this column here, status, everything that says reindex required. Okay, since this is a demo site, and for the webinar purposes, I disabled all the cron jobs, so we keep the index as is. And the main question you may be answering to yourself right now is, okay, so what should I do if a index is marked as required and my product's not being displayed? Well, if your cron jobs are correctly configured, the answer is don't do anything. There's nothing for you to do because this is an automatic process that should be happening based on the cron schedule. And if the indexers are in reindexing, even after, let's say, 30 minutes or so, it could be a sign of issues with your cron jobs, a processing task issue, or even a bigger problem, such as reindex timeout or problems with your database. While you can manually reindex Magento via SSH command line, as a non-technical person or would not having much knowledge there, I would say this could be your last resource, like your last option, only because it can be risky and may overload your system, potentially leading to downtime. So this is one of the things. So if you're noticing reindex is still marked as required after some time, something is not working properly, and you definitely need to get in touch with your dev team or your agency to check on that. The other common issue occurs when you just create a new CMS page or, edit an existing page, and everything you did using Page Builder beautifully, it's not displaying at the front end. You went there, you tried everything, but it's still not showing. The most common reason for that, believe it or not, is cache. And although even when you are in cache, in same steps as going to system, and they have tools and cache management here, you have this bar here at the top talking about the cache, saying, hey, cache sir, and not one of them are invalidated. It's not working, something needs to be done here. When that happens, what you should do is, the way I like to work is to check which ones are marked as invalidated. As you can see here, I have two. So I would select them individually, and then I will click on submit. And once I do that, Magento will refresh these two caches, and the chance that my work that I just did on using my page builder or any other CMS page that I'm working on will be displayed properly. The reason I'm saying for you to do that, it's to avoid the other two steps that could also be useful here. Because let's say you just refresh the cache, you're still not seeing nothing at the front end. So I would say in that case, you have these two options here at the top. One is Flush Magento Cache, which can be used for you to flash anything in the var cache folder. And the other one is Flush Cache Storage, which is the one that I would less use, because once you click here, you'll be flushing everything. Sorry, just a second. And if you're using Adobe Commerce Cloud, there will be more cache options related to Fastly that you can explore as well. They will be here at the bottom. The third one is managing multiple websites with complex catalogs. For this one, I want to go further, and it's only applicable for commerces and merchants on Adobe Commerce with the B2B module enabled. If you're managing multiple websites with a large number of customer groups or shared catalogs, this can put a significant strain on your infrastructure, especially during product updates, inventory, price, and tier pricing, just to name a few. These challenges impact your site's performance, slowing down indexing or leading longer load times during updates. To alleviate that, you can exclude certain websites from specific customer groups and shared catalogs. How do you do that? You go in the customer, go to customer groups, and then you'll be landing on this page. Then let's say I use here, just for the sake of the webinar, I created two customer groups here, one called US retailers 20% off, and one called Canada retailer 20% off. Okay. And then let's say I want to edit the US retailer. I'm going to click here on edit. And once I'm inside the group information, you can see I have here some options with all my websites, all the existing websites on my Magento installation. All you have to do is select all the websites that the group you picked should be excluded. and you can use multiple selections here just by holding your control key on your keyboard. And then let's say since this one here is US retailer, 20% off, I want to say they are not belonging to the main website. They should not belong to the USA B2C or the Canadian B2C or the Canadian B2B website. Once I do that, just click here on save, and that will save my customer group. And now what happens is that Magento will only reindex the data to one or more specific websites that you selected, reducing the server load and improving performance. And believe me, we had a few clients in the past working with large catalogs, and especially in Europe, when you have multiple websites, that was really painful. Every time they need to update price sheet, for example, or import a price sheet, Magento would take up to 25, 30 minutes indexing and using lots of server and infrastructure, which sometimes would ended up with bringing some downtime at the front end. So with this simple tip here, you can save a lot of time on your end.
Right. I remember hearing all of those three numerous times from our customers. So thanks for sharing those great insights. Understanding and knowing how to address these common issues can definitely make a big difference in your day-to-day, and hopefully reduce your stress levels at your job. If you encounter one of these issues, you know where to go in your back end to try to resolve it. But as we've mentioned, a significant part of maintaining a healthy site goes beyond just fixing the issues as they arise, which is quite reactive, and we don't like that. It's uncomfortable, right? Things break in and we got to fix it. We want to get ahead of it, right? So we want to proactively manage the tools that are in your store, make sure they're running smoothly in the first place. So that brings us to another common issue, the extensions and the modules that are installed on your sites. How many should there be? How do you manage it? Which are good, which are bad? How do you start to do an assessment of like if you even got the right modules and extensions on your site? Can you share some thoughts on the third-party extensions, and then what might be causing conflicts or slowing down the site? What should we look out for?
Yeah, no, for sure. This is a big one. Third-party extensions can add great functionality to your site, but they can also be or add a lot of headaches depending on how they go. So always ensure extensions are from a reliable source, such as the Adobe Marketplace, and are up to date and are still necessary. We often find sites with dozens of extensions, many of which aren't even used anymore. It's like having too many cooks in the kitchen. Things start to slow down and get chaotic. Recently, we worked with a client who had over 120 extensions installed, trust me, including custom modules and third-party extensions. After a detailed review, we were able to upgrade and reduce that number substantially, which improved their site's performance. Unfortunately, it's quite common for us to see Magento open source and Adobe Commerce projects that were sold as a package, with lots of extensions that are either from unreliable source or even worse, not even needed for the project. There is a lot of functionality that you might have installed an extension for, or a developer added custom code for, which can now be easily handled by Magento's latest version native features. So let's take order status, for example. Many merchants that we worked in the past struggle with too many customers asking about their order statuses, especially if your e-commerce allows guest checkout, where customers can purchase without creating an account. This leads to overwhelmed customer service teams fielding calls and emails just to provide basic order updates. You might not know, there is a native pre-built functionality in both Adobe Commerce and Magento open source that allows guest customers to check their order statuses. This feature not only shows order details, but also offers options like printing the order or even reordering directly from the status page. Let me show you how easy this is to use. I'm going to get back here to our demo site, and then this is our demo site. I'm using here an open source, but it could be open source or commerce. They will be the same. We included here on our website a link at the bottom that says orders and returns. Okay, and to demonstrate that, I included a URL that could be typed into any Magento website, but I just added here to show you how you can use. That is sales guest form. So if you click here, then you go to this page. And now, as a guest user, I placed an order before we started here, the webinar. And as a guest, I can come here and add the order number, the last name, and I can choose between email or zip code. In this case, I'm going to use email. And just to prove it was a test order, I use testing, like a fake email, testing@test.com. And then you click here on continue. And then what would happen is that now I can see my order status here at the top. I can see the products that I purchased, like I mentioned, and I can even see order information here. And let's say I want to print that order. I can simply click here on print order, and that will be a friendly print order that I can just print and keep here with me. And for this, I did without any technical knowledge, and it's built in without any third-party extension. And I was talking to, because we keep talking, the community, Magento community, it's very, very united. And I was talking to some of my friends who are like long date developers, senior developers, and some of them didn't even know about that. And then just to show you that this is not lip service, I'm going to show you here like a worst case scenario with the Olympus website. They have a fantastic website, and they sell cameras and accessories for cameras, etc. And they do allow guest checkout because I tested here before. And they even have here at the bottom, similar to what we did on our demo site, they have here something called orders, a link to orders. But if you click here, you'll be prompted to CMS page that says view order status. And you click on the order status, it's prompting me to either create an account or if I already have an account, to log in at that user. But what would happen if I simply come here and use what is native in Magento, which is the sales guest form? Voila, I have all the information here, similar to what we had on our demo site. But look what happened. I believe who built the website, which did a great job, by the way, they maybe missed that. The developer maybe missed that because even the H1 here is not following the same style. The button here is not following the same style as the rest of the website. So these are one of the things that I think is, important. So during a technical audit, one of the things that Brain and Code do is review all installed installation, all of them, to identify any that are outdated or unnecessary, because business goals and needs change, and some extensions that perhaps 2 years ago were essential, today were replaced with either a native functionality so we can remove it, or it's not even needed anymore. So keeping your extensions and modules lean and efficient is key to optimal performance.
Yeah, you're right. And I think that it's definitely vital to check your extensions and modules. We see a lot of clients with sites that are overly bloated. And when we do a check, oftentimes we go, oh, wow, like a third of this list, maybe the merchant doesn't even use.
Yeah.
So we can just remove them. Maybe another third is something you can accomplish natively. And the developers has either custom coded something or added extensions to it that aren't necessary at all. And maybe it was the right choice when the site was originally built and launched. But because the platform and its built-in functionality evolves, right? And so keeping up with that and making sure that you're leveraging that to keep your store lean is definitely important.
And Mel, I just want to say, you guys that are watching the webinar now, do a test on your Magento website. All you need to do is to go to your URL, doesn't matter what the URL is, and just add these at the end, /sales, /guest, /form. That's all you need to do. And then if it's not showing to you, that's probably because was prevented to be displayed by a dev, which could be a good case or good usage because maybe you don't want to offer the guest checkout. So yes, that's exactly what would be expected. But if not, if nobody intentionally removed that, you will see that page on your website as well.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've covered some common technical issues, how to manage them, also covered some good best practices for extensions and modules and what to pay attention to when auditing the list that's installed on your site, let's switch over to our next important topic, site performance. We all know how frustrating it can be when a website takes too long to load, and in e-commerce, every second counts. Sergio, can you explain to the audience why site speed and performance is so critical?
Sure, of course. But let's forget about e-commerce websites for a moment and let's go back to the 1940s when McDonald's was founded. Here is a picture of, I believe, the first McDonald's store. And when Richard and Maurice McDonald opened their first restaurant in San Bernardino, California, they didn't just create one of the world's most successful brands, they introduced a revolutionary concept, fast food. People came from all over to experience this new rapid service, getting a freshly made burger just seconds after placing an order. At that time, it wasn't even about Big Mac or Quarter Pounder. It was about the speed and convenience, which kept customers coming back even nowadays. But now let's forward to today. That fast food concept has become ingrained in almost every aspect of our lives, especially online. In e-commerce, the faster you can deliver a high-quality experience, the better your chances for winning the ultimate prize, sales conversion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I want everything fast. We don't like to admit it, but we're all like spoiled kids in this generation and have this expectation of getting what we need or want in a matter of seconds. Okay, so great. I think we all understand we need a site that performs fast, but how do we know if our website has performance bottlenecks?
Absolutely. The first step in improving your website's performance is to identify where the issues are, but also know the e-commerce platform you own. Magento, either open source or commerce, is known as one of the greatest and most powerful e-commerce platforms. It's flexible, scalable, makes perfect sense, and fit from small to Fortune 500 companies. But this comes with a price. Hundreds of thousands of lines of code, services, dependencies, etc., which makes Magento suffer when it comes to performance, especially if you add on top of that for maintenance, unneeded extensions, or even bad development. That said, one of the most accessible and powerful tools you can use is the Google PageSpeed Insight. It's a free tool to analyze your website content and gives you a detailed report on its performance across multiple metrics. All you need to do is enter a valid URL and we will run a comprehensive analysis. For example, let me switch back here and take one of our clients as an example. I'm going to use Hub Wholesale as one of our clients as an example here. Hub Wholesale, just to summarize, is one of Canada's largest hub stores, offering products for every interest, from astronomy and science to remote control cars, planes, and trains. I might be biased, but if you are a hobby enthusiast, you should definitely check out their website. Let me go back here and I run the page speed performance report a little bit earlier before our webinar. And then let's see how the perform works here. So the first thing that demonstrates to you, it to me is the most important, okay, is discover what your real users are experiencing. So this here, what you see on the first glance here is a picture of the past 28 days collection period of data on our website. And as you can see here, they have even a score here if it's passed or if it fails. So among other things here, there's a lot of several key metrics that you can check, such as the largest contentful paint, time to first byte, and speed index. These metrics would help you to understand how quickly your site loads and how users experience your content. If you scroll down a little bit, there's a diagnostic session where it lists specific issues that could be impacting your site's performance. This section is incredibly useful because it doesn't just tell you what's wrong, but also offers detailed insights and recommendations what needs to be done to improve your site score. For instance, Hobby Wholesale has an impressive overall score, but there's one particular area that could be improved, marked in orange right here, which is the largest contentful paint. And when looking at this specific metric, we see that it's about one specific item. If you scroll down here, and here you have the diagnostic tool, if I click here, it is talking specifically about one image. And even if I zoom in here, I can see which image is being highlighted by Google. So now I know that maybe there's something wrong, either with the image or the way the image was uploaded or created, etc. There are a lot of technical SEO things that can be done here. But I would like to, just for the sake of the webinar, just analyze the report with the image in mind. But analyzing the report is just the beginning. Okay, I also want to introduce you to another tool that is part of Google and acts as a natural step after using the page speed insights. It's called Lighthouse Scoring Calculator, which is a Google open source tool that lets you play around with different metrics using your website's parameters. What I did here, you can drag and drop, or you can use your keyboard here. What I did, I used Hobby Wholesale's page speed insights, these numbers here, these metrics, and I just added here the same as we saw in the website. What is important and what is good is that now we can tweak individual metrics to see how this change might improve your overall performance score. And then the important thing is that here on the last column, you can see the weighting. So what is causing or would cause the most good impact if or should take more of your actions or attention? So here, the most important one is the TBT, the total blocking time, which is great on Hobby Wholesale website, and it responds to 30% of the weighting. Now we have the LCP, the largest contentful paint, and the CLS, the cumulative layout shift, also 50% of the whole score combined here, 25% to each. As we noticed, the largest contentful paint was one that was the bottleneck that we noticed before. But the real advantage you have here is that you can make informed decisions on what to prioritize. For example, if you find that optimizing images, like we saw, there was an image on the light speed. If we notice, or if you think that optimizing images will significantly boost the score, that's where you should focus your effort. This way you can systematically improve the site's performance with a clear prioritized action plan. I will get back on a second on this because I think it's important to show you the difference that would make.
Right. And I know, a lot of our clients ask if they have a long action list of things to address, what is going to give me the best ROI? If I'm going to invest this time or money to have my dev address A, B, or C, what is it going to do to, if one of your goals is to improve this Google Page Speed Insight score, then what should I focus on, right? You don't want your dev spending 40 hours on something that would just increase your score by 1 point versus something that might be low-hanging fruit. They spend maybe a day, 8 hours, and it can move the needle 4 points, right? So I love this Lighthouse scoring calculator. So thanks for showing us that. Well, like your demo showed, with that Hobby Wholesale website, we do often see images as one of the big opportunities to tackle, especially if you have a non-technical team. And that is what we're speaking about in this webinar, not talking to devs and what they could do behind the scenes in the code. So if I have a non-technical team working with my e-commerce admins, maybe they're CSRs who kind of double as e-commerce admins or marketing folks, and I don't know how to go into the code and I want to tackle the images, right? And so it's definitely some low-hanging fruit with great ROI if optimized, like like what you just showed. Can you share some tips and tricks on how to optimize images?
Absolutely, Mel. Well, you know me, I'm all about ROI. If there's no impact on the ROI, it can't be measured. So, sometimes it's not even worth to pursue. But optimizing your image is one of the most impactful steps you can take to improve your site's performance. But image optimization isn't just about resizing. It involves a few key strategies that can make a big, even a huge difference, in your overall score and performance. But first, let's talk about general image optimization. It's crucial to ensure that your images are properly compressed and in the right file format. There are plenty of tools. I like two of them, the tiny PNG and the short pixel. I think they're both excellent for this. I'm gonna demo for you quickly here how you can use one of these tools to improve and to reduce the image size. Let me just open here. I have it here, the short pixel. And what I'm gonna do, I already downloaded here because as you remember, when in the page speed here for Hobby Wholesale, one of the things that we noticed is the large contentful pen element. There was an image, and even here on the serve image in next gen formats with potential savings, I could see the same image here as 103 kilobytes, and with the potential savings to be reduced to 58 kilobytes. So keep this number in mind. And if I go here and I use that same picture I already downloaded here, and I dropped here, wait a few seconds, and then what it did, it reduced that image in 73%. So if I hover my mouse here, you will see that reduced from 106 kilobytes to 37 kilobytes. This is huge. This is a lot. It's even more than what the Lightspeed tool was thinking that would be possible. So it will reduce potentially, much more if you use all your website images. And another thing those two does, this one here, for example, I upload one file, but here says download two files. And the reason for that, it's because I use this tool here to say generate WebP, which is, even on the Lightspeed here, they are saying image formats like WebP and AVIF often provide better compression than PNG or JPEG. So these two here allows me to download. It's not, well, it's free. You could try. I think you can use 100 downloads per day or per month, I guess. But it's definitely worth it if you're looking for something like that. And now, if you go back here to the Lighthouse scoring calculator, let's say after compressing all the images and saving them in the next gen format, like the WebP, we were able to bring down the largest contentful paint element to 1 second. 1 second. I know it's only 620 milliseconds. It doesn't seem much of improvement, but look what happens with the overall score when you reduce 620 milliseconds here. So I will use my keyboard so we can see how the total overall score here on change. So it already goes to 94. And I was saying to reduce to 1 second, so let's go further here. So 96, and now if I am 1 second, I have almost a 100% perfect score on the Lighthouse scoring calculator. Again, this is great tools that you could use, that you could play with, and even if not being a technical or a developer yourself, you could take a screenshot of these here, or even send this link, because if you copy and paste the URL here at the top, your dev or your team will see exactly what you're seeing here on the screen, and they can even play around with the metrics as well. But there's more.
Yeah, I like how it turned all green.
Yeah.
I just look at the colors, don't give me the numbers. Then it was like 4 green and 1 yellow before, and now it's all 5 are green.
Yes,
So that makes me
yeah, no, definitely. But there's even more, Mel, than only optimizing images. When talking to optimize images, not only about compression, you also need to make sure that your images are served in correct size for different devices. This is where a tool like Rasp Image Linked becomes incredibly useful. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me open here for you. I'm going to use website Hobby Wholesale. This here at the top, it's a browser extension that loads your page into a frame and then resize the images across multiple breakpoints, so we can test against their responsiveness. Let's take a look on how Hobby Wholesale performs here. Let me click here, the extension, and let's see. As you noticed, it put a Hobby Wholesale in a frame and is resizing to multiple formats here, screen formats. And as a result, it's saying that 106 out of 106 images passed all checks. Quite impressive, right? Now, just to demonstrate, because I did the test before and I was like, oh, I was hoping at least one image I could show what the report shows if fails, but I'm super happy that didn't fail and all the 106 images were perfect. I'm gonna use Best Buy. Let's use Best Buy because Best Buy is one of the largest consumer electronics retailers. And then, you know, there's a lot of things that we can do and use here because it's a very insightful benchmark website. I'm going to run the same here. So again, it load the page into a frame and we'll resize to different image breakpoints. And this is something that you can do also on your website. Now we got that 35 out of 44 images passed all checks. So as you can see, there are some room for improvements here. Let me just show the ones that failed. So here, what I like about this tool is that not only shows me that an image failed, but also gives me a comprehensive report of how to improve that, why it failed and how to improve that. So here, for this particular image here, it says at a viewport of 1280 to 720, the image was displayed 610 pixels wide, but the closest provided image was a width of 1000, which is 39% or 0.63 megapixels off the affected viewport are, and then it gives you all the information. Try using the following image size in, and then give us here the code. Oh, I don't know even what that means. No problem. You can copy and paste this and send to an agent like Brain Code or to your developer and say, hey, this is what I'm getting. And then here's has even an explanation, like loading a large image and display it much smaller should be avoided to save bandwidth. Loading a small image to display it in a much large should be avoided as well to prevent, you know, blur. So what you're trying to do here is to serve an image that fits the device your customer are using, and this is quite important. And as you can see, there's more here. There's a lot of them that didn't pass. So whether it's just adjusting the image size or switching to a more efficient file format, this tool here gives you an actionable insights that can have a significant impact on your site's loading speed and overall user experience. Well, I could easily spend an entire day or even weeks talking about the nuance of imaging optimization. But since we've got just 30 minutes and we already passed, and I'm so apologize for that, I'll have to leave that. Well, the key takeaway here, and that's important to say, is that tools like the RASP image linked. So this tool here, the name is RASP image linked. Page speed insights and the Lighthouse scoring calculator enable anyone, regardless of any technical expertise, to gain valuable insights for improving their site's performance. And that's what really matters.
Yeah, for sure. And I love how this last one you showed, the RESP, like RESP for responsive. So it's RESP image lint tool. When I speak to developers, and I know a lot of our clients are the same, they might not have a development background. And so it's kind of Greek to them. And if they get an article or items to go through, that's a list of code, they don't know how to speak to a developer about that. So I really like how it's in plain English and I can understand and I can speak to my developers. Okay, so of course, there's more to boosting your site's performance than just images. Can you share some more tips on things that anyone can implement or at least check and then follow up on with their developers to keep their site running smoothly?
Sure. Here are a few tips to consider. If you are a Magento open source or commerce on premises, not using Adobe Commerce Cloud, check your hosting setup. Make sure it meets Magento's minimum requirements. You can check the requirements by Googling. I'm going to show you quickly here how you can check that. So if you go to the experienceleague.adobe.com and search for system requirements, and then here, if you go to commerce on premises, which would be similar to Magento open source, you can use this. You can check the software dependencies depending on your Magento version. So here you have the 2.4.7 version within the release security patch. And then here you have the 2.4.6 version. So you can scroll down, check the version, and then, make sure that your hosting company is providing you with the minimum requirements, because this will definitely impact your performance. The other thing you could do is under the index, switch the indexers from update on save to update by schedule. And the reason for that is that in your website, if you leave as update by save, what happens is that your website will be reindexing every time you apply any change to it, like a content or a client or price or any data, which can slow the site down and sometimes even cause some disruptions depending on your infrastructure. The other thing definitely should be done, and I didn't mention yet because it's a little bit more technical than everything we discussed so far, is to merge CSS and JavaScript files. By merging these files, you reduce the number of requests your site makes, speeding up the load times. And then there's a lot of buzz in the industry, even with some themes. I don't know if you've ever heard about Huva, which spells Hyva, and I just learned that it's Huva, not Hiva, because I was saying Hiva. If you heard about Huva, it's a buzz in the community. It's a theme that promises a lot, and I had the chance to check, and it does a really good job, but again, it's not for all audience or all companies, and I would have to spend another 2 hours just to go on that topic. But the last is to update to the latest Magento version, including all third-party extensions. This should be your daily mantra. If you want to keep your e-commerce safe, reliable, and scalable to your customers, you should be on the latest Magento version. You don't have to go on the beta version, because sometimes there are some beta versions that are launched. You may not want to be in that version until it's tested, but at least on the latest non-beta version, you should be there for sure. There will be some exceptions, okay, to this rule, such as when you have like a legacy system, like a ERP or CRM or any third-party extensions or customizations that were done on Magento files. And now you cannot go to the latest Magento version, but honestly, there's still ways to work around, while keeping your Magento up to date. There are some ways. And even if your ERP, CRM, warehouse, or POS or warehouse management system doesn't provide you or allow you to go to the latest Magento version, I would say, well, maybe you should be considering to replace them, honestly, because that will be putting you, out of outdated version of Magento, which could cause a lot of problems in terms of security and scalability. Last but not least, use a content delivery network, CDN. This is especially important if you handle a large number of images or videos, have a multi-website setup serving customers in different countries than where your site is, or if you experience performance problems. Please note, and this is important to say, that a CDN might not be the best approach when it comes to performance improvement to everyone. And the reason I'm saying that, it's because, for example, if you are a Canadian store here in Western Canada and your server is here in Western Canada, or even in Seattle, which is the next city here in Western US, and you only serve Canadian customers, you don't sell to US, and majority of your audience is coming from the Western provinces in Canada, then a CDN may not make much sense to you. Okay, but if you're serving like if you have multiple websites or very large catalog or a very large or heavy image website, homepage, or if you have multiple countries, then yes, CDN definitely. And if you are an Adobe Commerce customer, you have Fastly natively included as part of your license, which offers, great features besides the CDN. On top of the CDN, Fastly will offer you like blocking traffic from specific IPs, image optimization. This is a good one. A few people know that, but if you're on Adobe Commerce, a cloud or on-premises, you would have the image optimization as part of your Fastly service. That can be done on top of everything we discussed today. The maintenance mode, when sometimes you need to update or something happens or break and you want to, easily without a dev, put your website in maintenance mode to prevent any new orders or anything emergency. So Fastly can do that as well. And the web application firewall, WAF, just to feel and feel things that comes with Fastly. So implementing all these strategies can make a big difference in your site's overall performance for sure.
Right. Those are some really great insights and recommendations. I'm sure everyone has a list of things to investigate after the webinar or hand the list to your dev team and start to check them off based on priority and ROI. Okay, I know that we are at time, a bit over time for our webinar, so I'm sure there's so much more we can share on this topic, but let's move on to our Q&A so that we stay within the hour. Let me just take a quick look here. Okay, I see a few questions have come in already. So I'm just gonna I'll pick a few, and then if we don't get to all of them, we will reach out via email. We have everybody's contacts, and so we can reach out to you to follow up. Okay, the first one, Sergio, is how do I know if my site is optimized well enough?
Oh, that's a great question. The best way to know is by using performance tools like the Google Page Speed Insights or the Lighthouse calculator, as we discussed earlier. But beyond that, you can monitor a website performance regularly. There are plenty of tools out there, things like New Relic, that is an incredible tool that all Adobe Commerce merchants has, and only a few of them use or take advantage of. Look for any slowdowns and address them quickly. And of course, we at Brand Code are here to help, if you need a full technical audit to be done on your website and help you with that.
Right. I picked a really good second one because I think we hear this a lot because I think the stakeholders of each e-commerce entity it's different, right? And so the ROI and being able to talk to your stakeholders and go, hey, like we need to invest in this is important, right? And then so this attendee asked, how do I prove the ROI on site speed performance? Not to call any names, but they said a senior manager doesn't see the value and don't want to invest the time and money to tackle these issues. And we do hear this one a lot. Sergio, what's your take on this one?
Well, you tell your boss, that's what Sergio told me to do, period. Just kidding. Optimizing your site's performance and can lead to faster load times. You have higher customer satisfaction, and of course, ultimately, what you're looking for, more conversions. And, I believe it's one of the best investments you can make. And we've been seeing clients all over from Brand Code improve their conversion rates by up to 20% through all performance optimization. It's not a promise. I'm not saying that every single website that has performance improved will see the revenue increase in 20%, but it does increase because you're improving your overall user experience, and which will make they feel comfortable on placing an order and with your website and confident on placing an order, but also making potential returning clients to your website as well, which is also important.
Right. Yep. That's a really good point. Okay, I think we have time for just one more, and then we'll wrap up with the prize draw. The last question I'll take is, what's the impact of third-party integrations on site speed?
Well, third-party integrations can sometimes introduce performance bottlenecks if they are not managed properly. So for that reason, it's crucial to evaluate each integration necessity and performance impact. There will be always trade-off, and you need to be aware of them. So regularly updating and optimizing these integrations is a must. And For example, here at Brain Code, we help clients streamline their integrations and ensure that each one is configured for optimal performance, which can lead to faster load times and a more seamless user experience overall.
Right. Those have been really great questions. So thanks, Sergio, for answering the last one. There were a few we didn't get to, and our time is up, and I don't want to miss out on the time for the prize draw. So we'll do our best to answer them by email. I also received a few questions on the webinar chat. So if you have anything else that we didn't cover, feel free to leave some messages there, and we'll hang around. And then after the webinar, I'll check the chat to make sure that we get to them. So if you did do that, then just keep an eye on your inboxes and we'll get back to you. Okay, so yep, thanks for that, Sergio. Can't forget about our giveaway. I do have a list of all the, it's kind of blurred out with my background, but all the registrants here. So very high-tech draw method. And I'll draw out a name without looking. See who it is. Okay, we've got Ashley from Rocket Industrial. Oh, I think I saw, yeah, I saw her online for a webinar, so we'll be in touch with you. We will be giving you instructions on how to redeem your Magento site audits, and yeah, and we can go from there. Well, to wrap up, just remember speed, efficiency, regular maintenance, always the keys to a successful e-commerce site. So by taking the time to identify your bottlenecks, implement some of those best practices and more that we've covered in this webinar today, you can significantly enhance your site's performance and in turn boost your sales. So turn all those yellow needles to the green space. So looking forward to seeing what everybody does with those tips there. Thanks for everyone for participating today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team. Our email is info@brainandcode.com. Or if you want to reach out to one of us directly, you can do so as well at sergio@brainandcode.com. We hope you found this webinar insightful and that you can apply some of these best practices to your own site. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again.
Thank you. Thank you all.